going to be hosting a total of 6 webinars. Most of them are going to be happening at this exact time. So it's 3 p.m. For CET zone, except a couple of them, but you'll get notice on the small changes. And yes, so we're going to focus each of the webinars on one priority topic, one very important topic that we have identified and that we think is worth focusing on. We start today sharing some of the best practices and best innovations promoting youth employability. And we'll do that by the hand of 5 expert member organizations. And well, just before I leave the floor to them, I wanted to share just a couple of thoughts as an introduction to why are we focusing on youth employability today. So, well, I think we're all aware of all the challenges that youth people faces when they want to join the employment market, the labor market. We had already seen some improvements. Things were getting better in terms of youth activation and youth work before the pandemic, but really the COVID-19 has hit really hard young people. As you can see, there has been some discontinuity in education, in training, and it has added some boundaries to the ones that they already were facing when starting their career. So we think it's crucial and very important to focus on them and on some solutions that are already working out very well to support their employability. So that's why we're targeting them today. Also, of course, youth is an EU priority, and it's in their strategy to support them engage, connect, and be empowered so that they can realize their full potential. So, well, it's our priority as well, and for that we will be discussing it along the day. I think that the best way to show which are their priorities is to give them voice. So very briefly, I want to share with you this video where they're actually sharing the 11th priority topics for youth in the EU. Let me know if I hope you can see it as I do, but let me know if you don't or if the audio doesn't work.
Silvia, the audio doesn't work.
It's not working?
No, and we don't see the video.
Ah, shame. Okay, well, I will just post it in the chat because I'm not sure. Well, I think the most important is listening to the practices of our members, but yet you have it here, just a number of young people that has been working during the summer on this 11 priorities, the European youth goals that we think are very important to be shared among all of us. So just check it out if you have the time. But as I was saying before, I don't want to hold any longer because I think that really today the important thing is that we get to listen the organizations we have invited to share with you their practices and the work they're doing towards youth employability and inclusion. And to start with, we have Luca Trovato. He's coming from the Italian Chamber of Commerce for Spain, if I'm right. It's a long name. And he is going to be sharing with us one project they've been working on specifically for youth employment. So, Luca, it's up to you if you want me to keep sharing my screen or if you want to do it. Feel free to do it as you feel more comfortable.
Hi, Silvia and everyone. Yeah, thank you for inviting me here. I would like to share my presentation if I can. I need to push it. Okay. Okay. So here we are, right?
There we go. Yes.
Okay.
Perfect.
let me put in a bigger screen. Okay, hello everyone. I'm Luca Trovato, representing the EU Desk Department of the Italian Chamber of Commerce for Spain. We are an organization that works as a bridge in the commerce between Italy and Spain since 1914, more than 100 years ago. And I'm here to present SCoopConSS project that is a European co-funded project in the framework of the DG Grow, if you know the program of the European Union that is for the internal market. So the SCoopConSS project, that is a social cooperative contest for secondary schools, aims to introduce and enhance cooperative business in second education schools. That means secondary schools and vet schools also. Starting from topic-related teachers who involve colleagues and students from also other disciplines. So not only from the economy field, but we had the schools from different fields like forestry, like sanitary field, like electronics and informatic fields, but all of them are focusing for the cooperative perspective. So starting from the 17 UN SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals from the United Nations, we developed a curriculum for them that they were studying particular curriculum for developing their own cooperatives, for their own cooperatives project. So this is the partnership of this project, and it's from Spain, Portugal, Italy, Croatia, and Greece, and each of us are project partners that are from different fields, from different backgrounds. For example, in Portugal are from the incubators for startups. Here in Spain, we are the coordinator together with FP Empresa, that is an association of vet centers. And then there is a cooperative from Italy, and Egina is the coordinator of the project, also from Italy. And also ACET in Greece, and CTK in Croatia. So, okay, the target group of this project were 50 selected business, marketing, and administrative secondary school and vet center, 10 in each participating country, that co-designed the training program, and we developed from them online training activities that were 10 workshops for 10 schools. So more than 100 workshops here only Spain, and then in Portugal, Italy, Croatia, and Greece the same. Where this workshop we gave them tools to start their own cooperative, cooperative project. So this was aimed to participating in the SCoop contest. We had two contests, one at national level and one at international level. This project started in March 2020. And will finalize in December of this year. So we are at the end of this project, and we have all the results, everything done. And the methodology that we used was the coaching circles that were, like I said, a sort of workshop with the students, but they were interactive one. It wasn't just a theory to their students, but also a part of where they could put in practice the theory and to start their own cooperative project. So this was the innovative aspect of this project, because the students, the reality for the students was really realistic. Let's say that they put in practice lots of the methodology that we we teached. So we teach them entrepreneurial methods based on the cooperative principles. That means like, for example, self-help, self-responsibility, democracy, equality, equity, and solidarity. And also teamwork, for example, is one of the main aspects for the cooperative principles that we have taught to them. Another part of the innovative methodology was the Canvas Next, because as you know, Canvas is a business model where we graphically summarize a proposed idea, for example, but Next, that is generated by Next Nuova Economia per Tutti, that is an organization in Italy, in Rome, that elevated the Canvas and combined with other economic, social, and environmental value, and it combined the business Canvas model to also the 2020 agenda and the 17 sustainable development goal. So here you can see the Canvas Next, how it was structured and how the students propose their ideas through this model, this new model that elevated the Canvas, the generic Canvas that most of us probably know. So the results of the project, as I said, we had two contests at two different levels, one at the national level in Spain, and the winning project EduNature, that is developed by 5 students from the FP Center EFA La Malvesia in Valencia, and they proposed a social cooperative dedicated to programming environmental education and caring for the environment, and that help to know, value, and also respect the environment. These students were able to see firsthand all the procedures and the problem that could be encountered when setting up a company, and more specifically in this case a cooperative. So these young students were the example. They were the winner of the first contest at the national level, and they set up this cooperative EduNature with a business model from the project proposal to the main aspect of SWOT analysis and all the problems that they could encounter and the stakeholders they wanted involved. That means that the project was really deep. Was really deep at knowledge, and the structure of the project was really well structured. So the winner of this national contest, also for Spain, Portugal, Italy, Croatia, and Greece, participated in the international contest, that of EUSCOMP, and we held this international contest for the 5 participant teams in Italy, in Florence, in a 4-day boot camp, inside the framework of a festival of civil economy. It was really a beautiful experience, not only from us, from our point of view, but most of all from the students' perspective, because they had the chance to present their projects to a wider audience of political and economic representative in Italy. So they presented their projects in a scenario that was really high for them, and they really learned a lot from this experience. And also from us was a real beautiful experience to bring them in this beautiful scenario that was Palazzo del Cinquecento, that it was the main palace in Florence in this festival. The winning team of this international contest were the Greek team, that I really admit that their project was really at high level. And so I hope that these 5 projects, they will try to put in practice, and they will try to set this project, because they were really high, and they can be really adaptable to the reality, because they looked for the real needs of their society, of their territory, and after that they set up a cooperative to answer to these needs of the territory. So thank you to all. And I think I have 3 more minutes if someone have some questions. Yes. And I give you my details here, my contact details here, if you want to get in contact with me.
Thank you very much, Luca. Also, maybe if you want, I think it would be like a great moment to tell us a little bit more about, so in which calls are you working at the moment, or which ones are you mostly interested and in which topics, as it is on the final slide, because I think that might help other organizations identify you as for future collaboration. And also, of course, I think he has done a very good job. There is still a couple of minutes if someone wants to ask him a question. If not, we can just keep them for later. You can write them on a chat and we'll have a moment later. But yes, you still have a couple more minutes, Luca.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I don't know if you can see my presentation now, but what we are interested in participating in future project proposal. Of course, we are in lots of Erasmus Plus projects. We have lots of experience in Erasmus Plus, especially in K1 mobilities and K2 cooperative actions. And also we are interested in enter in Horizon Europe in the next call of Horizon, as well as COSME program, and anything that our sector, interested sector, of course, it is entrepreneurship, but also more generic sector, as an example, agri-food sector, textile, and the handcraft sector. So we are, our department, that is UDesk, is active since 2013, and we are drafting project proposal for many years now. So we have lots of experience in this, in drafting project proposal, and if winning, also implementing this project proposal. So we are really open to meet new collaborators, new partners for future projects together. Thank you. Thank you, Silvia.
Thank you, Luca. That was very interesting. And yes, we will be sharing the full presentation with all attendees. So you will have the contacts of every one of the people that will be participating today. But just so you know, we'll also put you in chat in touch with those practices and organizations you're mostly interested in. For that, it's very important that you fill in a very quick survey that we'll be sending at the end of the webinar. Okay.
Great.
And okay, well, if there is no questions, or maybe you want to keep them for a later moment, I want to give the floor to Michael Miller and the Opportunity Center. That's today one of the projects they've been working in, or they are working in, they're still working on it, I think, which is very focused on youth, on creativity, and well, he's going to explain us a little bit more about it. So welcome, Michael, and thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Sylvia. Are you happy to move the slides on for me?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. So yeah, thanks for the invite, Sylvia. As Sylvia said, my name is Michael Miller. I work as a project officer at the Opportunity Centre, which is in Bradford in the north of England in the UK. We're part of the Aspire-igen group. So until last year, earlier this year, we were known as Aspire-igen, but we're now the Opportunity Centre after a rebranding. And I work for Aspire International, which is the international arm of the organisation that has lots of experience working on Erasmus projects, like Luca was talking about, as well as Horizon projects and Europaid projects. The Opportunity Centre, it is a not-for-profit social enterprise, very much focused on employability, so the employability of youth, but also lifelong employability and reskilling and supporting people getting back into work as well. So careers, skills development, also with a focus on vocational training as well. So at our centres across Yorkshire and the Humber, we do offer vocational training. So many of our projects have been based on the VET sector. However, today's project is actually an Erasmus project focused on schools education. If you are interested in finding out more about our organisation, obviously you have the links to our website there, to our blog, and also our social media presence as well. So please feel free to follow us on those different platforms. Next slide, please, Sylvia. Thank you. So before I sort of go into what the project's about, I should probably address that kind of the elephant in the room and what applied creativity labs actually are, because that really needs to be discussed or summarized before we can actually go into what the project's trying to do. So applied creativity labs is a methodology that was devised by one of our project partners, also based in the UK, and their name is IVE. And in the context of the SCALE project, applied creativity labs, the methodology is to help get young people interested in environmental and climate change issues and making them realize they have a part to play in addressing these issues. It's not just something for adults or for the government to deal with or for Greta Thunberg to deal with. It's something that they can actually deal with themselves. So it's a unique methodology which gets them trained on how to kind of think critically and think of solutions, to use their imagination as well. So as we get older, the older we get, the less creative we get, the less imaginative we get. So the idea is focusing on students who are at that age where their minds are still malleable, and you can still try and influence them to use that creativity, but for a practical purpose. So to find solutions to these real world challenges. SCALE, originally the ACLs were carried out for primary or elementary school children just in Leeds, the city where I'm based and IVE is based. The reason the project is called SCALE, because in effect we're scaling up the methodology on a pan-European level. So we have 7 partners across 6 partner countries. So it's to encourage the uptake of this methodology across the European partners, but also our national stakeholders at a systemic level, to enhance critical thinking of everybody involved. So not just young people, but the teachers, career staff, parents, the wider community. Again, raising awareness of young people's natural creativity, and everyone has creativity, but it's kind of stifled as we enter mainstream education. That creative spirit is kind of seen as something that's frivolous or not something that we can actually use for a proper purpose. But this project is designed to make people realize that it can be used, and creativity does not mean chaos. Creativity can be a positive thing. Next slide, please. Thank you. So as I mentioned, this is a Key Action 2 Erasmus Plus project. The project officially kicked off in November last year and runs until April 2023. So despite Brexit and the fact that we can no longer participate in the Erasmus scheme on new projects, this project is fully funded until around Easter 2023. So we're very happy that we can still continue to participate in these kind of transnational partnerships. As I've said, we're the coordinator of the project, so the Opportunity Centre based in Bradford in the north of England. We have partners in Latvia, that's a school, a technical high school in eastern Latvia. We have a municipal council in northern Portugal, in Lusada. We have Genova, who are based in Zaragoza in Spain. We have Institute Perspectives, who's a youth organisation in Bulgaria. We have IVE, who are the kind of the founders or the brains behind the ACL methodology. And then finally, the Square Dot team in Belgium, who have got lots of experience in terms of making policy recommendations and being in Belgium, having lots of European level contacts. Much like with all these projects, we've picked the partners to have a wide spread across Europe, because obviously, like with a lot of topics, the topic of climate change or even creativity itself, it's a very kind of mixed picture about the level of understanding across Europe. So we purposely picked people, we've got Northern European countries, Southern European, Eastern European, to get that kind of transnational viewpoint. So in terms of the target group, our direct target group are 150 school students aged 12 to 17. So again, slightly older than the children in the UK that have experienced the ACL methodology so far. We're especially looking at learners who are, we say, disadvantaged. I think disadvantage is quite a contentious term, because what's disadvantaged in Zaragoza is very different to disadvantaged in Bradford. So what we mean by disadvantaged in plain terms is just those who've had fewer opportunities. So for example, they're in schools that aren't very well funded, or don't have access to go on field trips to interesting destinations or have interesting guest speakers. So it's addressing people or young people who haven't had a chance to engage in this topic and to develop their skills, and also to consider their future career goals. And that will become clear how this relates to youth employability in a moment. So it's about reinforcing also key competencies as well. So helping them to develop their maths and language skills in the guise of discussing climate change and creative thinking. It's also about increasing levels of achievement and interest in STEM subjects. The application that was originally submitted talked about targeting students who'd exhibited interest in STEM or interest in climate change, but as a consortium, we've agreed and kind of feel that actually it's good to also target people who maybe don't show interest, are dismissive about these topics, because I'm no expert in climate change, but having worked on this project for the last 9-10 months, I've learned a lot more by discussing it with people more well-informed and also speaking to experts in the field as well. We're tackling challenges across Europe. So it could be things like deforestation in Latvia or air pollution in the north of England. The methodology can be used for many different topics, but mainly focusing on climate change and these kind of environmental issues. We also have the indirect target group of teachers and career staff. So I'll be able to explain in a moment how the labs work, but teachers and career staff will be helping to deliver the ACL sessions. Therefore, they're obviously part of our target group to train them and how to deliver these workshops. It's also about local decision makers, so people who have the power to make changes in terms of embedding creativity within education or addressing environmental issues within the curriculum. Also inviting what we call industry experts or role models to speak to the young people, to actually tell them in sort of layman's terms what the issues are and how they can maybe address them. In terms of the methodology that we've kind of used in this project, we've referred to it as a co-creation methodology, basically meaning that throughout the 30 months of the project, we're actively engaging with experts in the field and also with our target audience. So throughout the lifespan of the project, we're hosting 3 stakeholder meetings where we ask teachers and other experts to give their feedback on project's development and to basically shape the finished products and the suite of resources. We also have 3 distinct piloting phases. So we just go back to the previous slide. Thank you, Sylvia. Just finally, 3 distinct piloting phases. So at first getting feedback from teachers and experts in the field, but then when we come to the piloting around this time next year, or sort of September, October next year, we'll be piloting in schools. So going out to schools and actually delivering real life or real world applied creativity labs, as well as multiplier events. Next slide, please. Thank you. So in terms of youth employability, the reason why I felt that SCALE would be a good project or good initiative to talk about as part of this seminar today or workshop today is that aside from getting young people interested in climate change and environmental concerns and helping them to use or develop their creativity skills, the Applied Creativity Labs also give them the option or the ability to actually think about their careers and actually have a chance to meet people who could possibly offer them work experience, offer them a job when they finished education. So with the Applied Creativity Labs, what would happen is if we were delivering it face to face, so if COVID hadn't happened or if COVID disappears soon, what would happen is the Applied Creativity Lab would start with 1 full day where we basically introduce the young people to these issues, to a particular issue that pertains to them. So drilling down to what's important in this region of, say, Spain, what environmental issue is going to affect people in the future, and getting them to think about that. We invite role models, so sector experts who know a lot about the topic. So, for example, we had one held in Yorkshire where we invited people who are tasked with making all new cars electric by 2030, encouraging people to commute to work and school by cycling rather than using their own car. Clean air strategies, and basically experts who can give their insight. Then over around 6 weeks, every week there's an hourly session where young people will have time to basically learn how to use their ideas to actually address these changes. So they'd find out what the challenge is, And then over time, over this sort of six weeks or so, they'd basically have training to how to think creatively. So things like brain teasers, mind maps, getting them thinking outside the box, and then applying this creative thinking to generating ideas for climate change or other environmental issues. So they explore, develop, and refine their idea. And at the very end, the very sort of last session, which would be maybe about a half-day session face to face, we'd invite a selection of experts, a bit like the Dragon's Den program. I'm not sure if Dragon's Den is shown in your countries, but the idea is that these young people would present their idea almost like a business idea, and then the experts would give their constructive feedback on the idea. And if the idea is especially innovative or interesting, there's a chance their idea could actually be considered for further development and scaled up to actually a real life solution to one of these issues. If things continue to be online, which we hope is not much longer, but it can be done online. Obviously, ideally, it will be face to face, but if not, the ACL methodology can be applied online. It would be usually 9 sessions lasting 1 hour each over sort of a 9-week period. But it's very important to stress that the methodology is very flexible, so you don't have to stick to it. The whole idea of thinking creatively is to basically be more flexible, understanding of different needs and wants. So that's what we suggest. But if you were to apply this on your scale in your country for your organization, you can deal with it differently. Next slide, please. So just finally, in terms of the progress so far, the project has 4 intellectual outputs. The first intellectual output has been completed, which is a framework of creative competencies, which is like a go-to guide, which has been translated into all partner languages, about creative teaching and learning. So how teachers can integrate creative thinking or the ACL methodology into their daily practice, but also how creativity can be measured and how it can be assessed for students. So it's all well and good young people developing creativity skills, but how do you actually assess that? And that also applies to output 2. I've obviously listed that in amber because that's kind of half started. We've started our research, a best practice guide, and that's about how to actually use these kind of creative projects in teaching. Our third intellectual output is an online platform. This platform will have a MOOC, which helps teachers train online to be able to deliver the ACL methodology and workshops, a toolkit to support them, and video resources, a community of practice where experts, sectoral experts and teachers and career staff can communicate across Europe using our forum, and finally a student resource bank where students can test their knowledge on things like climate change, environment, and find out more about the issues that are facing them. And then finally, to make sure that all our work's been worthwhile, our final output, which starts next autumn, will be the result of piloting and impact assessment. So employing the Impact Plus, Erasmus Plus methodology and workshops, and making sure that we can basically present a report to the European Commission, which shows that this methodology can be used across Europe and beyond. The final slide is just basically showing our social media and online presence. So if you just the next slide, please, Sylvia. Thank you. So we have presence on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. YouTube will be quite interesting because the ACL methodology is probably best explained watching the videos rather than my presentation. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. We also have a website where we'll have links to downloadable resources when they're complete. However, the online platform will be the main sort of go-to point for all stakeholders. Finally, we have the Padlet page. So I'm not sure if Padlet is used in your countries, but Padlet is basically like a virtual notice board where external stakeholders can offer their feedback on our project. So rather than asking people during a workshop like today or at a face-to-face event what they think of their project, if they'd rather give the information or write their response or give it anonymously, they can use the Padlet page to do so. On the final slide, I've already addressed the fact that because of Brexit and being kicked out of the Erasmus scheme, unfortunately, we can't participate in any new Erasmus projects yet. However, we are still interested in working in the Horizon Europe call, and we're working towards the April, I think it's mid-April next year, there's a deadline. So if you are interested in looking for a UK partner, we are definitely interested in working with you on a Horizon bid, especially because climate change is one of the main pillars that they're looking at. So the idea would be to take this Scale Schools project, but make it, put it more like an academic level with a Horizon bid. But we're especially interested, as we said before, in careers and employability, vocational learning. So if any of these things sound interesting to you, please feel free to email me, add me on LinkedIn and social media, and I can answer any questions you might have about this project. Thank you, Sylvia.
Michael. That was really interesting. Well, we're doing wonderfully with time. So really, if there is any question that someone wants to ask, I think this is the right moment. You can raise your hands and we can get it through. Or if you're shy and you want to share it on the chat, we'll also take that. So, well, if not, we will be moving to the next practice. And well, if it's okay, which I think we're doing very well on managing time this time, we'll have a short space for questions and answers at the end of the webinar. Okay, so thank you, Michael. Really interesting project, both of the practices you've already presented, with a lot in common, really interesting. Okay, and we're moving to a third practice then. It's a practice led by the Center for Competence Development in Cyprus. And well, we have with us Chrystalla to share it with us. Welcome, Chrystalla.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Sylvia, shall I take control and
Absolutely.
move on the slides?
Sure. Let me stop. There you go. You're sharing now, right?
I think so.
Yes.
I'm gonna move the slides. Great. So again, hello everyone. A big thank you for the organization of this series of events, and to the presenters before. It was really interesting hearing all these different initiatives in the field. My name is Chrystalla Panayi. I'm a project manager at COMCY. I will elaborate further on the organization, and I'm also a youth worker and a board member of a youth NGO, again in Cyprus, YU Cyprus. So before I move on to our good practice on youth empowerment, a few words about the Center for Competence Development. We are a non-profit training, research and development organization based in Nicosia, Cyprus. We are active in the field of project management, training and development of resources for positive social innovation. One of the areas we have been really active in the past years is youth empowerment and youth education, as well as the capacity building of professionals working with young people, such as youth workers. In this context, we were part of a 2 years Erasmus Plus project called MotivatEyoUth, preventing the early school leaving phenomenon in the European Union through practical and innovative solutions. The project aimed to develop a multi-intervention program for young people and for professionals working with young people, and was focused on the phenomenon of ESL, early school leaving, and had an aim to reduce the factors that can create it. The project was a partnership between 5 organizations from 5 different European countries. Italy, Petit Pas, that was the coordinating partner of the project. Cyprus, COMCY. Poland, we had the OIC Poland Foundation, a foundation working again with young people. Open Europe Association in Spain, and the University of Porto from Portugal. And within the project and along with the partnership, we had the opportunity to create several resources that are now available since the project finished in August. so it's been almost 2 months. Among them, I think I need to move on just a minute. So among the resources, I don't have slides with all the resources, but it's a program toolkit that is available on an online educational platform, an online assessment game, and again, an ICT tool for competence assessment. All the results, as you might be familiar with European projects, are available for free and in several European languages, among them English, Greek, Italian, Spanish, and Portuguese, and Polish. So the main target groups of our project were young people between 14 to 24 years old, also young adults that are considered to be early leavers from education and training, as well as professionals working with this target group, teachers, educators, youth workers, social workers, and any other kind of professionals working with young people. So in this context, I'm going to focus on two of the project results. We created a program toolkit targeting the professionals, the experts that I mentioned before. This is a set of offline and online tools that can support experts working with young people that might be at risk of early school leaving or have already left the school. What led us to create this resource, besides the fact that we had the proposal guiding us, was the need that we identified how different and the diversity of perceptions out there, especially that professionals have, but also the society concerning early school leaving. We also saw it throughout the project that usually people have different perceptions about early school leaving. So we wanted to make this concept as clear as possible and find solutions to act better. The toolkit is structured in two areas: prevention and intervention. Prevention is targeting professionals in order for them to identify strategies and get familiar with various risk factors that can lead to early school leaving. And intervention is mainly focused on professionals working with young people that have already left education and training, and how they can support and empower them. As I mentioned, the toolkit is available online for free in the project website and platform. And then the second result I'm going to present today is a result we're very proud of, since it's a gamified online assessment game. The aim of this game is twofold. On the one hand, the user is basically a young person between 14 to 17 years old, and going through the game, we are assessing through a gamified environment their risk of engaging in early school leaving. And at the same time, we can guide their experts and professionals working with them on which areas to focus in order to empower young people. Just to give you an idea of how the game was created, it was a really long and complex process, since we had to develop the framework, including the story concept behind the game, so the design factors, but also the predictors that the game assesses. And again, this was based on solid research. We developed the content of the game from scratch, as well as the technical and graphic design details. And then we tested the game with more than 500 users, that is children between the ages of 14 to 18 in all partner countries. We then received all this data, and we did an elaborate analysis of the data and developed the norms in order to have the final version that is now available and can be used again for free by any stakeholders interested in the game and the project. So this was briefly about Motivate Youth and the results we created. I have here the link to the website of the project, so you can access the results directly. Again, as you know, it was a challenging journey, especially during COVID, since we had to approach all the schools, the children, the teachers, youth workers, mainly online, which was a big challenge, but it was a fulfilling journey at the end of the day. And hopefully, maybe someone can find the results useful, as we would be very happy to see them put in use by as many stakeholders as possible. So finally, a few words about the calls we participate as COMCY. As the previous presenters mentioned, we are active in project proposal preparation and management. So we are active in several calls and programs, as you can see on your screen: Erasmus+, Justice, REC, Knowledge Education Development Funds, and other programs. We're usually collaborating, but honestly, we're open, but we're usually collaborating with educational organizations, youth organizations, universities, ICT providers, and governmental and public authorities. And the topics we usually try to cover are connected to positive social transformation through education, training, and development. So that's it from me. Thank you again for your time and for the invitation today. And I can answer any questions if necessary.
Thank you, Chrystalla. That was a very, very interesting project. I really would like to know more about both results. No, I think I'm sure they're very useful tools. 15 minutes is never enough to really, well, it's just to get a taste of what you guys have done. But it's really, really interesting. And I see that, well, actually all projects have a lot in common, all the different practices you're presenting today. So a lot of potential for synergy. Thank you. I don't know if there's any question. Again, we have time for it. So if anyone wants to raise their hand and ask a question now. Yeah, okay, I think Rita raised her, okay. Now the virtual hand as well.
Thank you. Thank you. It's really,
Rita and
really
Mónica.
Interesting listening to you, and thank you. I'm really enjoying my time here in this forum. And I would like to ask whether you have that tool translated in different European languages. Maybe I didn't, you've already given that information and I didn't catch, and if that's the case, I apologize. But in case there's something in Portuguese, that was my question. Thank you.
Rita, I'm very happy to say that the game is translated in Portuguese, since we translated everything into all project languages. So it's available in English, Greek, Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, and Polish. And there is a possibility for further development of the tool in other languages as well. This is still open, but at least for now, it's available in Portuguese.
Thank you. Thank you. It's nice. Very good to know that. Thank you.
Great. Great. Okay. Well, thank you very much again, Chrystalla, and thanks for the question, Rita. We've opened the space. Always first questions trigger more questions later. So thank you for for that. Okay, so we move into the next practice, fourth practice, from Proacting organization. In this case, they're from Portugal. They are based in Porto, I think. So I'm sure they will be also very happy that your tool is translated to Portuguese. That's good news from some of the people attending today. So Jose, thank you for joining us today and for sharing your practice with us. I'm not sure if you want me to share my screen or if you prefer to do that yourself.
It is the same for us. Hello to everyone. Yes, of course, it is very nice when we listen that some of these interesting tools are translated already for our native languages. At least for us in Portugal, is quite a bit difficult to find some of these type of materials already in Portuguese. And it's not because we are lazy, but we all know that our lives in this type of field doesn't allow so many times to have the time and the pleasure to translate these materials and instruments in our languages. So it is very nice when they are already done. But for us to present ourselves and presenting our organization, I will try to share the screen. Basically, Proacting Association is a youth organization that was created in the beginning of 2019. So we didn't knew what we had in front of us in terms of the pandemic. So it was a bit messy for us in the beginning, and actually the project that we are sharing here, it was the first project that we had approved. But let's get a step back and explain where do we came from and why we want to create Proacting. So Proacting is an organization here in the city of Porto. City of Porto is the second biggest city in Portugal, in the north of the country. And we are talking about it in 2018, the municipality of Porto had done a study in their city that said that we have more or less 90,000 youngsters between the 20 and the 30s years old, and at least 3,000 of these youngsters are a net people, so are not employed, study, or in training. And the three creators of the Proacting Association came from different environments. One from the university, other from the youth sector, and other from a general company field. And the biggest point, the biggest concern that they have is because we are talking about people from 20s and the 30s that at least for these numbers from the municipality of Porto, more or less 60% of them, they have a high school, a bachelor at least, or a master's degree. So they have the higher education level, but they are not active in society. So Proacting was to have this capacity of empowering the young people and try to put them on active again in society. So we work in three biggest fields: in employability, entrepreneurship, and non-formal education. Of course, all of this we are always trying to connect with social innovation, and it is impossible to work these three fields if we don't work in the field of participation. And actually, I was very happy when I saw that Sylvia in the beginning tried to share with you the European Youth Goals, because unfortunately in our days we have a lot of people that doesn't know that these youth goals exist, and we have an agenda to fulfill all together, like the SDGs is another agenda that is very important, but a lot of people doesn't know the agenda yet. So it is important when we have this type of meetings, we share this type of agendas, because it's also important for us when we work in this field to connect our projects with these European or international agendas, and is try to connect the dots. And of course, this participation issue is very important, because we cannot have we cannot want the youngsters be integrating in the society and have this employment and the entrepreneurship mindset if we don't participate in their own communities. So it is very important to give them this knowledge about participation, because it is not because they don't want to participate, or they don't participate already, but they doesn't know actually that their type of participation is already a participation. So we are too much linked with the formal formats of participation that the people needs to go to a defined and concrete space and time to participate, but actually they participate in different topics and in different fields of the society. So because of that, we have this project that was the first one, and the main objective is to integrate these youngsters, neat youngsters and empowering them to the active life. But we work in two different layers. So we have two different target groups in this Action 2 project. So we have the youngsters and also we have the youth workers, because it's also important to work with the youth workers, capacitate them for when a youngster like with these issues, when they appear in front of them, they already have the knowledge and the instruments necessary to work with them and support them. Sylvia, thank you. So this part of the objectives of the I, of course, they are 7, and this is too much theoretical from the application. But the most important part from this slide and the next one, Sylvia, if you want to click in the next one, you can. Basically, the most important is for you to understand that we really want to work for the impact on the community. It doesn't matter. We don't like to say that we work in Erasmus Plus programs or EA grants, for example, because for us the point is not to do applications for European budgeting, but is actually the impact that we can have in a community. We don't do applications. We don't apply for some project or for some grant if the mindset of the program is not aligned with our objectives and mindset. We know that a lot of organizations try to be flexible from their mindset and values in order to reach the point of the grants, but that is not our point. So we don't like to say that we work with these grants or another, and I'm already saying the last point of where we want to get some partners or not. We don't close doors. If at some point some proposal from your part, for example, or another future partners, if we see that the values and the objectives of the project and the grant are aligned with our values and mission, for sure we had all the pleasure to accept the proposal and be part of it. And Sylvia, if you can pass another. Thank you. So this is the profile of the youngsters. We already know more or less which is the profile from the Erasmus Plus. So here we have the young people, and Sylvia, please, in the next slide, we have the youth workers. As I mentioned before, that we work in these two levels, capacitate the youth workers and also the youngsters. That is very important. We do all of these sessions, and we transfer the local sessions for online webinars that occur in this summer between the 6 middle months of the year, and we divide basically the part of project management in 6 different phases. All of these webinars was in non-formal education. All of our work is inside of non-formal education, and we try to align also with design thinking. So for us is also very important because we want to have this impact in the community and in social innovation, put this mindset of design thinking. So the empathy is very important for us to have this reflection from their part in have this empathy with the others and the other communities and with the minorities also. And of course, if we put them thinking how the others feel and which problems they had in their own communities, they are more able to have this notion of how they can improve themselves and how can they can help the community to achieve further their objectives. And of course, we have one of the partners. It was on purpose. It was the University of Porto, in order to have this part of formal education also here in the project. So if we had a university align with us in this program, we can have this structure on content and valid content for giving to the youngsters and also for the youth workers. I lost.
Next time, or
so
sorry.
We have here the results that we have so far from this program with this project. So we have these empowerment sessions online, as I said, during 6 months. We have more than 100 participants. We have 4 official partners from 5 official partners from 4 different countries. So we and the University of Porto, we are Portuguese, so we count with 1. It was Norway, from Furin, Croatia and Cyprus. But we had 9 different countries, persons from 9 different countries and 2 different continents, because we had the pleasure to have Brazilian people, 4 Brazilians participating in this project. We have 54 participants that actually made all the course, so made all the 6 sessions and get the final certificate for the project management, and they will come 5 for each partner. They will come to the Blend Mobility that will happen 2 weeks from now here in Guimarães, close city to Porto, to work in more structured way their projects that they create and build during these 6 sessions, and will present to a jury that will be a person from the social department in the municipality of Guimarães, a mentor that create, for me, at least in my opinion, one of the best social innovation hubs that we have here in Portugal. That is Carlos Santos from Human Power Hub, a very interesting project that they have in Braga, and we are trying to have a person from the Red Cross, National Red Cross, also as a jury in this Blend Mobility. So we have again 6 different countries presenting in the Blend Mobility, because we will have Spanish participants and German participants that they actually doesn't do part from the official partners, but they will come from the as a Portuguese in this program, in this project, because they actually made a very nice project during these 6 sessions. Sorry, it was the alarm saying that I reached 15 minutes, but I will very short. So it is very nice when we can see that the impact that we can have in terms of local and European level can be so strong. And of course, after that, we will have the training course for the youth workers from our 4 different countries. And as I said already, we put here some of our projects that we made part, and some types of partners that we already have. So basically, we don't close the doors to anyone. If we see that the project that you are proposing makes sense for us, we have all the pleasure and thank you to invite us and to be here. And of course, if someone had some
questions. Sure. Thank you, Jose. Thank you very much for telling us a bit more about your organization and your work. So, yes, if anybody has any question, maybe it can be a good time for it. I see 1 hand. 2 hands. Okay, so Valesa, if you want to go with a question.
Yes, please. Do you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, good morning. So I'm Valesa. So actually I'm based in Mauritius, but I come from Madagascar. So I just I saw this event on LinkedIn. So I was interested to attend the event. So I was late because I had a problem with the login. So actually I have a question, Jose, for your presentation. I understood that it's for EU project, but do you accept the candidate from Africa for this one?
Right now, no, because all the participants made part from the online sessions that we had during these 6 months in the summer. But we had all the pleasure. If you follow us in our social networks, and if you see some projects that are aligned of what you want, we have all the pleasure to receive you here.
Okay, thank you so much then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and I see there is another raised hand from Laura.
Hi, I am Laura from Mexico. Thank you for your invitations. And I want to ask Jose, with which countries in South America you are working with?
Right now, we don't have actually any partners in South America. We have ex-university students from Brazil that share the link for the participation in our project in Brazil, and we received some participants from there, and it was great for us. But actually, we don't have any project that are running in South America, but we had all the pleasure to receive this invitation to build a partnership with you.
Sounds amazing. Thank you very much. We are going to be in contact with you. Thank you very much, Jose.
Thank you.
Thank you.
From Mexico for all of you.
Thank you. Well, I'm very surprised and happy to see that we have also some people joining us from other non-European countries. That's great. And yes, I think there was a question in the chat. We're going to be sharing the PPT with all the organizations and the people who are attending today. And also, as mentioned, you're going to receive a questionnaire, like with which organizations would you like us to put you in contact with? Which practices do you think that you can have some synergies with, and we'll be very happy to connect you. So yes, this is what this is for, to find interesting ideas, to find interesting projects, and to build partnerships in the EU and outside the EU. That would be amazing. So that's great.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, yes, and with everyone, we're very happy to build partnerships with all EU, non-EU countries. Although, of course, this has a bit of more European umbrella. It's under the European Network of Innovation for Inclusion, but no, great to know that we have other organizations to be working with. And I'm not taking more time from the last presentation, which is also from Portugal. We have Rita and Mónica. They are from IPAV, Instituto Padre. Well, that has a long name. I'm going to ask them to come with. But they will be presenting a really nice project that I had the pleasure to learn from in a previously in another organization. So welcome, Rita, Mónica. We're very happy to have you today.
Thank you so much. So I'm just going to first greet the audience and greet you. Thank you so very much for inviting us, for thinking of us, for challenging us to come to this European Innovation for Inclusion. It's wonderful to be in a forum with like-minded people. We're all connected with the very same idea of working towards youth and empowerment and employability. If you allow me, I would like to say hello to Valessa from Mauritius. She's part of the big world Ubuntu family, and we're very pleased to see that our communication materials actually reach people, and then we connect, and it's a wonderful thing, Valessa, to have you in this forum.
You're welcome.
It's really wonderful. I was so surprised to see you. It's fantastic, and I'll see you on Sunday on our Ubuntu United Nations Peace and Reconciliation topic. We'll be there. Basically, I'm going to pass the microphone on to Rita, who's going to explain to people who don't know our program the Ubuntu methodology. And then at the end of it, perhaps I'll just wrap it up with why we think that social emotional learning, that's our trade, that's what we do, really is helpful, is actually fundamental for employability. So I'll pass on the microphone to beautiful Rita.
Thank you. Sylvia, if you could please share the presentation. Hi, I'm Rita, and I would like first of all, I'd like to greet everyone here and to express how honored I feel to be here in representation of IPAV, and specifically in representation of Ubuntu Leaders Academy. To start with, I would like to discuss with you what is this Ubuntu concept. What does it mean? So Ubuntu is a South African word that contains a philosophy of life that means I am because you are, which means I can only be a person through other people. And so it reminds us of our interconnectedness and how independent we are as beings. And we are only complete when in relationship with other people. And it therefore proposes that we each learn how to find ourselves and the others by communicating, by relating, by preserving and enhancing our individuality and that of the other. And so this concept and philosophy of life permeates Ubuntu Leaders Academy methodology that is aimed at empowering young people and educators towards three main ideas: the ethics of care, the construction of bridges, and servant leadership. And so in a world of speed and ephemeral digital immersion, increasingly radicalized and fragmented, we truly believe that by promoting unity and diversity, we can, one, restore this sense of humanity by placing the focus on the person and on their relationships, helping to connect with their deeper and most human essence, and this is the ethics of care, to recognize our need for the other, and this need to connect margins that are not always close to each other, and to be transformed by this connection as well. And third, this idea of servant leadership. As Martin Luther King said, everyone can be great because everyone can serve. And this is one of the main ideas in which our Ubuntu Leaders Academy is rooted. And so above all, we intend to empower people to discover who they are, what skills they have, who they want to serve, and how they want to serve. And who are these people? I'm sorry. Okay. Who are these people? So anyone from young people with leadership potential, social activists, entrepreneurs working in education, in the educational field, leaders, founders of NGOs. And so we want to empower young people as agents of change at the service of their respective communities, whether they come from vulnerable contexts or are willing to work in them. And concerning the methodology used, the Ubuntu Leaders Academy is a non-formal education program that uses a pedagogical model centered on the trainees through a participatory and deeply experiential and relational approach. And we aim to promote social emotional skills with a cross-cutting impact on the participants' lives, particularly self-knowledge, self-confidence, resilience, empathy, and service. And so during our sessions, and besides resorting to peer learning, individual reflection times, sharing times, cooperation, and teamwork, we also focus on learning through reference models, since we believe that the power of an example, an example of life can have, and the inspiration that a story can provide to each of us. And learning through reference models can occur in three different ways. First, learning through world-renowned leaders. We call them Ubuntu leaders, such as Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King, Desmond Tutu, among many others. But also community leaders. We believe that the presence of community leaders is very important because by sharing their life stories, their experiences, they can demonstrate how it is possible to be a vehicle for change, even in difficult moments. And last but not least, by the stories of the participants themselves, because we believe that by sharing their personal stories and by reflecting about the path they are going through, each participant is aware that their path can be an important source of inspiration for others. And now regarding the results, that we have reached so far. Since the Academy started in 2010, we have widened our scope of intervention inside of the Academy, and now we are working not only with the youth, young people, but we are working with different target groups in different contexts, and we have now a residential training implemented in 17 countries all around the world, and the pandemic has also allowed us to reach even more people, and we have now a digital training implemented with youth from 119 countries, specifically in this project Mónica was mentioning, the Ubuntu United Nations, that is happening right now these days. And we have also prepared hundreds of trainers to implement the methodology in different contexts, and are working with over 400 schools in the Portuguese educational field. So having reached thousands of people is a huge privilege, but it's also a huge responsibility that we are very conscious about. And recalling the 5 main competence skills that I was talking about, self-knowledge, self-confidence, resilience, empathy, and service, we truly believe that this methodology is a unique tool in the social and emotional learning field, or SEL, as it is widely known, because we believe that when we get to know ourselves, who we are, and to recognize our internal processes, emotional, psychological processes, our motivations, our fears, we become more aware of our present selves, and we can also project our future selves, which are fundamental for empowerment and leadership. And besides, when it comes to self-confidence, we truly believe that a belief in ourselves, taken humbly as our intrinsic value, allows us to focus on the path we want to thread, and gives us the strength to continue on that path. And so knowing who we are and our value is something that is very important in any organization, as essential as it is the concept of resilience and this capacity of overcoming obstacles and turning them into opportunities for growth, even both for ourselves and for the organization we are working in. And so regarding empathy, we truly believe that when we are more able to see and understand the world from different points of view, and to work in different teams, and to understand different contexts, different cultural environments, we become more employable as well. And so when we, and last but not least, besides developing the technical tools, we truly believe that nowadays it is crucial to develop the human skills that allow us to be active servant leaders when creating a better world. And so this is some of the output of this project, in which we truly believe in. And it reminds us every day that both in our professional lives, but also in our personal paths, that we are only complete when in relationship with one another.
Okay, well, I think I don't have to add anything else. I think Rita did a fantastic job. I think she was able to, basically focus it, zoom it on the employability skills. Just to tell you that since some of our partners were talking about also Erasmus project, so we've been very honored, very, very grateful. We were supported by the European Union, and together with 2 or 3 country partners back in 2018, we were able, with the help of the European Union, Erasmus Plus, to systematize our Ubuntu methodology, also at the time in 4 languages, so Portuguese, French, Spanish, and English. And as we are now moving very likely in 2022 to the Middle East. We now have also translated our materials. Our Ubuntu methodology is also being translated to Arabic. We now in 2021 we're very also humbled and grateful. We've just been also supported with extra support from Erasmus Plus. Before, as I said, in 2017, together with our partners in Europe, we were able to systematize it, to translate our materials into those languages. 2021, now Erasmus Plus is helping us to deliver something absolutely powerful, which is this Ubuntu United Nations. We gave ourselves this challenge of expanding what we call the Ubuntu family to a world global audience, and we're very grateful. We have delegations from 190 countries around the world. We already had on the 26th of September our very first gathering of delegates in what we call a pre-works conference to establish who we were, to get to know each other better. And we start this Sunday, October 24 until December 19. We're going to have 5 training world seminars, which are going to be facilitated by Nobel Peace Prize winners. We have the first one with Ramos Horta, East Timorese hero. We have Kailash Satyarthi, the guy who basically our role model on defending of children's rights. We have Professor Mohammed Yunus, or someone from my generation is our idol, coming to talk to us about entrepreneurship and development in an Ubuntu lens. And we're going to have also Lema Gobue from Liberia, who's going to come to talk to us about the rights, equality of rights, and also the gender balance in the world, how important it is for development and for peace. We also have the help of Club de Madrid, who's also joined us together with Erasmus Mas and plenty of other organizations, bringing in former heads of state for what we call the intergenerational dialogue. You know, not passing the baton because the world has changed into a different place, but discussing with the youth leaders, with the youth delegates from these 190 countries, the issues that are so fundamental now in our world. We have in this training, we have Ubuntu themes, and we have also the sustainable development goals of the United Nations. So what is the big plan and the vision? Well, the dream is that using technology, the same one that allows us to be here now speaking in real time, to connect us all, connect these entrepreneurs, community developers into a network of people whose focus is the common good of humanity. And so this is a journey we've started on back in 2010, and we're very, very grateful for the support of the European Union and the fact that we were also invited to be here in this forum this afternoon with you. So thank you very much, and anyone who wants to ask us any questions, feel free. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rita and Monica. It's an amazing project. Well, it's been ongoing also for a long time. I've also, I encourage everyone to check out on the materials of all the different projects. And out of Ubuntu, I've had the chance also to read some of the toolkits for trainers. And even there is this book, Ubuntu Building Bridges, right?
Right.
Which is
Yes,
fantastic.
Again, it was produced with the help of the Erasmus of the European Union. So yeah, we're very grateful. Wonderful.
So is this Ubuntu United Nations event that you're hosting open? Can anyone join you on online mode, or is it?
Well, actually, we have 600 delegates, so it's 3 delegates per country. It's 190 countries. But we decided, for example, when Professor Mohammed Yunus speaks, the world needs to stop and to listen, or Kailash Satyarthi. So all these, the addresses by the Nobel Peace Laureates, Ramos Horta, etc., it's live streamed on YouTube. On YouTube. that is on, and it starts on It's on Sunday. The first one is on now, the 24th of October at 11 a.m. GMT. Now Portugal is GMT +1, so in Portugal is at 12 p.m. and it goes for 3 hours. 3 hours. The Nobel laureates, they speak in the first hour, and it's going to be live streamed on YouTube, so you can all follow.
Oh, that would be great. That would be great. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And well, thank you very much to everyone. I think it's been a great first webinar, first of 6, other 5 to come. Just to wrap up, I want to give the floor also to my colleague Alicia, in case that she wants to have some final words to wrap up. And I think that will be it for the day. Alicia.
Hello. Thank you. First of all, just a few words to close. Thank you for almost 30 people we have had during this webinar, and thank you for sharing. I think this is a very good time for sharing. It's a good time to know other possible partners, other possible projects to be inspired in. So I think this webinar comes in a very good time. And thank you also for your generosity. It's great to have different projects in different stages, not only finished, but only ongoing, which are always enrichful for everyone. And of course, we don't want to lose very good products, and we would like to take advantage of that and continue further developing these very good products we have had during the webinar. I just identify some common things like environmental issues, SDGs, social approach, social innovation, competences. I think this is the most common word for all of us when we are speaking about social inclusion of young people. In this case, we are always trying to these people to get competencies that will help, and we will prevent for unemployment and will prevent from difficulties in the future. So congratulations to all, and congratulations to make the young people to make it easier in the future. And Madagascar and Mexico, you are very welcome. You make this international, which is very good.
Yes.
And that's all. I don't want to keep you here more time. Thank you for your time, of course, and we are really open also to collaboration with all of you. Yes. And well, it's a pity we don't have time in these webinars to speak about our programs, which are we have a variety of them, but we will have more opportunities, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
And great to have the European network that allows us to have these interesting times with you all. So thank you all, and have a good afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. We'll be sharing with you the materials. We'll share with you just a survey to see with which practices would you like us to connect you with and to be in touch. And we really hope to see you all next Tuesday. We're great at faces, so we'll know who's missing. We'll see you next Tuesday. Have a very good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
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 Bye.